lovely wife.
Oh,
Here she is.
talking to people.
Okay, before we're just going to say a couple of words. Before that, I've just got to let you know there's a 4-course buffet tonight. Yeah. 4 courses. So just help yourselves. Don't get carried away on the first course. Keep going back, and it's out in the other room. Through the other room.
What room?
That one. Other side of the wall.
Other side of the...
I don't know. Anyway. So,
that way.
through there. So Ange and I, first of all, just really wanted to offer our heartfelt thanks for everyone for coming tonight. Especially those people who've travelled a long way or who've come from overseas, which there's quite a few people. So it's really great to have a celebration with all our friends and family in this hemisphere, especially those people that I've grown up with and shared my memories with, and in many cases the evenings I can't remember as well. So we're certainly getting our money's worth with this wedding. After initially planning a low-key affair, we have ended up with parties both in England and New Zealand. And as some people might know, we've also managed to do the ceremony twice in New Zealand too. So this is because we were filming the wedding to put online over there, and after the ceremony had finished, and the celebrant had gone home, the guy filming for the DVD came up and he said, "Oh, someone's tripped over the cable." We're quite suspicious about this cable. I thought, cameras don't tend to really work like that these days, but he'd lost everything anyway. So I called the celebrant back, who came back to her absolute credit, and we refilmed the ceremony again, indoors this time. It was outdoors the first time. People actually enjoyed it because they said they could hear much better the second time. Yeah, and the second time round there was a lot more cheering. People were a lot more raucous, and I think it was mainly due to the fact that we were a couple of hours into the celebration that people had 1 or 2 drinks by then. Okay, another great highlight of the wedding was that my dad made it over, which we hadn't expected at all. We thought he wouldn't be able to attend, but a week before he said he was going to be able to come over. So it was great not only for him to come to the wedding, but also to see how Ange and I live in Auckland, and I finally got to prove to him that you can buy hand-pumped beer over in New Zealand as well. He said there's only fizzy lager the whole time, but I managed to show him that's not the case. And he also got to see his sister for the first time in 10 years, which was brilliant too. Yeah, and all his nephews as well, I think one of which he'd never met before, so that was nice. Actually, as Dad was staying at ours after the wedding as well, for a couple of days, we realised that technically he also attended our honeymoon, which it's a rare privilege for any couple, I think. No, it was separate rooms, I hosted gradually. Just to say as well, it's wonderful having been married to Ange so far in the few weeks we've been married. We had a couple of great weeks on our honeymoon at Snells Beach, just north of Auckland, about 45 minutes away, and it was even better due to the short distance we had to travel as well. But we stayed at a lovely beachside location and had great weather for that week. Unfortunately, when I got back, I was ill for about 3 weeks with glandular fever, which was not exactly the way that I'd wanted to start my wedding. But Ange looked after me absolutely amazingly. I'm about to do a terrible joke, I warn you. I just wanted to thank Ange for looking after me so much and reassure her from now on there'll be no more glandular fever. Wait for it. Just Angela fever. But before the new Mrs. Medell says a few words herself, I just wanted to thank not the old Mrs. Medell, but the preceding Mrs. Medell and my dad for their contributions to the evening tonight. And also many thanks to Carol and Ivan for providing everything and going to enormous efforts for us. Okay.
To reiterate Dom's thanks to everyone who've come here, especially those who've come from a bit further afield, out of town and overseas. It's lovely to be able to celebrate our wedding again with those of you who weren't in New Zealand, and also for some of you that were. Sorry to put a few of you through the speeches twice, or I don't think they'll last that hour long that they did in New Zealand. It's great that we both have some family members in New Zealand and the UK, so that we've both had some sort of representation at both events. This is my sort of family over here, European family. We have been asked many times not to rehash the material from New Zealand celebration, as some people were there, some people watched it online, some people didn't really care. But Dom's family may be able to recite the New Zealand celebration word for word, as they've got it on DVD. I believe they've watched it a few times. But for those who haven't, I'll give you a quick synopsis of our relationship. How did we meet? Standard question. We met on a hike in Auckland in July 2008, and discovered that we had a lot in common, and we got on very well. Dom then emailed me and asked me out for coffee. I would have thought, knowing him now, he would have asked me out for a drink, but with the excuse in the email that he was new to New Zealand, so he didn't know many people. What did I like about Dom? As I'm sure you all know, he's funny, intelligent, easy to talk to, and he liked me. And what did he like about me, you may wonder? Well, you have to ask him, but according to his speech and poem and all that in Bells in New Zealand, apparently I care about the people around me, I know how to party, and something about, this is from his poem, about understanding the economy while maintaining autonomy. At this point, I'd just like to say the poem that he did write for the New Zealand speeches was lovely, and the final few lines managed to produce a flurry of tears from the audience, which apparently that's what he was aiming for. Although I disappointingly remained dry-eyed. I think this is due to the fact that I'd burst into tears during my own speech while mentioning Dom's dad and how he'd made it to New Zealand. I then realised Dom's dad was actually off in the toilet during this outburst. So now you know a little more about us. I'm just going to leave it there, and we're now going to do our first dance. Well, it'll be our second dance. And those who saw it on the DVD last time may have thought, we really enjoyed doing it. But actually, at the time, Dom had a couple of drinks and was constantly telling me that he couldn't remember any of the moves. So we'll see how it goes this time. And